Hey, everybody, this is Rob Decker once again for the Rug Lounge, and I'm here with Brian Jesperson. Brian, say hi to everybody.
Good evening, rug lovers.
All right, so we are going to jump right into this because this is something that I've actually have in my shop. I'm going to be doing a a section of a leather sectional, and it's top grain. It's real stuff that got urinated on, and we're going to be processing this. I'm going to show my guys, what my procedure, what I'm going to do with this thing to make sure, because leather, it's not like fabric. You can't just run water through it. You know what I mean? That it's a whole different ball game. But we're gonna get into that here in a minute through this. But what any suggestions of getting urine out? And he says he's already tried enzyme. Now, for one, just I wonder if these are real. These look like,
Printed.
yeah, printed, right.
It could be.
They don't, it doesn't, yeah, they're cut to look like, but I don't think they're, it's because the neck would be different right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see a back shot of them for sure, um, but let's assume they're leather and wool and talk about that a little bit. So, for me, I want to say that there are, a few things that are basically anti-leather. Like, you put these things on leather and they are very abusive, and will cause it to actually just fall apart. And one of them is urine, the other one is sunlight, and hydrogen peroxide doesn't do it any favors. Okay, so all of those three things there, and then also you want to add in like ammonia. I've known people to clean leather with ammonia, and they don't clean it very long because it's trashed. It goes away, because alkalinity is not good. That's why urine isn't good in leather, because it leaves your body acidic, but when it sits there, it soaks in, it creates alkaline salts, or leaves behind alkaline salts, and that it just is absolutely destructive. I have had a pelt fall apart in my hands when I got it wet because it was urine soaked, and I thought, well, I think I can soak this out. I put it in water, and I was going to take it out, and I was back, getting evacuating the pit and getting the piece out, and it just came apart in my hands. I was just like, oh well, I guess this one was too far gone. But I've learned now, anytime there's anything like this, before I went and got this piece of sectional, I went over and really tested it with my finger. I'm trying to poke through, I'm trying to see if it's solid. And it, she says it's been maybe about 6 months in there, which I thought it may have done more damage, but it so far it's doing okay. And so this is my plan, Brian. I'd like for you to critique it. There is an access panel on the underside. The underside is completely fabric, but there's like a U zipper that comes out, so I can get to the cushion underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two 5-gallon buckets with towels on them. I'm going to turn the sofa over upside down, and the arms are going to be resting on the bucket so that I have the seats upside down, because none of the cushions are removable. And the one that was urinated on is one of the seat cushions. So I'm going to shoot water through the cushion down into the leather and let that water kind of come out through the places where the leather's sewn together, stuff like that in the seams. So and I'm gonna just try to flush that through with water. And then I'm gonna turn the sofa over, and I'm gonna put my poultice towels, big large cotton towels, on every part of this sofa, on the top, the back of the piece, and then the seat of the piece. I'm going to put these, and I'm going to hose them down really, really good with water. And then I'm going to be washing rugs over here, and I'll put make sure this stays wet. And I'll be over here, and then I'll be over here, and I'm going to be running back and forth. And what I'm trying to do is get that water into that leather. And I might actually take the towels off and like do a little bit of suction. I don't know. If you have you ever, yeah, you can do that. I've done that with the backs of pelts and stuff. So um and then, but to keep it wet with the towels is what I'm thinking, Brian. You got
Well, the leather furniture is like a whole different animal in a way because
right.
you have to kill the salts in the urine. I mean, that's exactly what is keeping it wet inside there. I
Yeah.
mean, I picked up some rugs from a house a couple weeks ago, and they have a leather sectional, and this dog had went over there and peed on a few leather cushions, and
Mm.
I mean, it's been several weeks, and it still looks like it's wet. So you got to neutralize the salts in the urine, and then kind of go from there. But you're like
Yeah, it's
trying to,
salt wants water very, very badly, and that's
yeah,
what I'm hoping to do. Yeah, is just
yeah.
dilute them down,
I mean,
put some good moisture in there and stuff.
as for these hides right here, let's just say they're a regular hide. I mean, we wash these hides all the time, and I
Mm.
mean, I just use triple D. So I
Right.
use triple D front and back. I hand scrub. I don't use a Cymex or any rotary.
Yeah.
Cymex says power wash this, and then I might kind of sound crazy, but I actually stick it in the centrifuge and kind of give it a little bit of a spin. Something a little bit light, try to
Hmm.
pull it off, and then go ahead and pull it out, and then I lay it on our dry tables, and then start putting the leather conditioner onto the hide itself, and then
Yeah.
actually use like our weighted roller to actually squeeze that leather conditioner into the pores of the actual leather itself. And I might do that just a couple times as it's kind of drying. I'll
Mm.
let just a little bit of airflow to the top, not as much, but just a little bit, and maybe a little bit more. It's kind of they're upside down, so that's on the dry table and it's kind of lifting them, and they always seem to come out really super good. I mean, you just have to make sure, especially around like all the little creases, the little corner cuts. You want to make sure you get lots of conditioner through those areas because those areas seem to get a little more crispier than others sometimes.
Yeah.
But you just have to kind of work with it as it's drying. And if they're the fake ones on here, man, that's like hardly no problem at all. I mean,
Right.
it's basically you're washing with a triple D, you're rinsing it out. If you don't have a centrifuge, I mean, you can definitely if you have like a couple of ladders, uh, what those little giant ladders are kind of great with a PVC pipe in the wash pit. You can go ahead and drape that thing over and just let it just drip dry on there. Uh,
Yeah.
and then kind of just let it drip dry, and then start maybe add just a little bit of conditioner to the back, even with the ones that are fake. I think sometimes it just depends. You have to actually look in the back of the actual rug. I mean,
Right.
most time you're good, but I mean, if it's printed on there, it's not. It's that's all fake stuff anyway.
Right. Right.
It comes out
And
good.
it's
In my opinion, I don't like using enzymes on leather. I don't. I don't think it's a good idea. Um, Triple D has never done me wrong at all,
right.
ever. And I mean, we washed rugs where even the zebra's head was still on the actual hide.
Peace.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow.
so yeah, I mean, gosh, you don't have to dig that up and put it in the rug lounge. There is a giraffe legs and tail. That's one of my clients' houses, and we had actually cleaned that. Uh,
Wow.
that was kind of interesting. He actually had the giraffe's neck and head down his staircase going down.
Wow.
It's pretty incredible.
It
But
really is.
and somebody told me today when I was picking up that Oreo Speedwagon rug, uh, they told me today that they said, "Hey, you're can you clean like a buffalo hide?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course." They're like, "What about a mount?" And I actually have a gigantic buffalo head mount, uh,
Oh.
and uh, and I was like, "Yeah," and they said that this one was a white buffalo, and I was like, "Wow." A white, you don't
Mm.
hardly ever see a white buffalo. I can't even believe they have a mount of a white
Oh,
buffalo.
yeah. They're so rare.
Yeah, but Paul had taught me, like on something like that with a little bit of taxidermy. You want to use a little bit of light air dusting on there, and then
Yeah.
clean that with some LST,
Yeah.
and those things will shine up like crazy. But I mean, with the hides, I personally like using the Triple D if it has any sort of pet odors, and then you could just I typically will finish it off with just a little bit of LST, in a 5 gallon
Mhm.
bucket with some water, and just kind of bring it back to about a 5.5 pH. So that way,
Yeah.
it really just does enhance the color of the actual hide. I mean, it really glistens the the wool on there, the fur. I did,
Yeah.
I did that. What is that? Let's bring that up and put that inside the like regular lounge. Also, this is a bearskin rug, and that guy, he had smoke damage done to it, and
Mm.
he told me, he said when I brought it back, he's like, "You're first off, you're the only person we haven't kicked off the job, and you guys did an unbelievable job." And really, to tell you the truth, I mean, it was the LST and also, or the yeah, it was the Triple D LST combo that
Right.
really set it off. I mean, LST is just awesome to use if you really want
That's
to enhance like just the visual aspect of the piece after.
exactly what I do in my shop is I soak out a piece with my chlorine dioxide and then I use LST on it, which is basically the same thing that you're just talking about.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful combination, man. I've learned to be able to do that. If I yeah I haven't bought Triple D in quite a while, and that's why I still sometimes rayon, but usually I'm doing rayon road shampoo with viscose and stuff. So
So
um
you're just so you're just basically taking the stabilized chlorine dioxide and
yeah,
you're just soaking it for a couple hours.
but 30 minutes to an hour is all I need.
30
And
minutes an hour.
Paul used to tell me I really could stay at the 30 minutes. He's
Really?
like, even the bad ones, if you flush them out with water before, don't ask your chemical to do too much,
Yeah.
so you've got to move some salt with the water, but what water won't move or what you've stopped, then you use that chlorine dioxide. Yeah. And it just
You
he
know,
says the efficacy time is measured in seconds, not minutes.
the interesting thing about Triple D that I really do like is the fact of like, let's say somebody has pets, lab, you know, something that's a larger dog that has lots of pet oils on there. I mean, you can literally see, I mean, the funk just come off of that rug. I mean, I've never seen. I don't know if it's even a word, coagulate, but it's
Mm.
like it coagulates right off of this. Uh,
Now that the reason it's the chlorine dioxide. See, if you
is it really?
you know it is because what the deal is normally, and we used to preach all the time about sublime first because it's a dry cleaning solvent and it's going to moisturize and break down the oils, and then water because it makes all the components water soluble. Well, I have found out that chlorine dioxide is a shortcut for that. You don't
Really?
have to, yes, you don't have to do that if you're using enough chlorine dioxide and enough heat. You can make that. I did it at my one of my first tests of it was at a local Steak and Shake that has modular carpet, and then but it's just, I mean, the grease trail is just amazing. So we went in there with just number one cleaner, that's it. We didn't start with any solvent at all, and it cleaned up as well as it ever does. And I was just like, wow, I've got something here. You know what I mean? This is something, because you don't cut grease with water nine
Yeah.
times out of ten. You know what I mean? It's not something that you start with anyway. But
So
that chlorine
what's the
dioxide,
what's the pH of number one
number one's between 10 and 11.
between 10 and
So
11?
it's not a great rug washing thing unless you're
Oh,
talking about synthetics or,
yeah.
cotton, something like that. Cotton or viscose can handle alkalinity, but you want to stay away from it with all the uh, wool fibers and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's amazing when it comes to fringe. I found out, and then because like I said, it's got chlorine dioxide in it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so that's the ticket. That's the key because it can do so much. If it's, those oils that you're talking about, those are organic. Well,
Yeah.
that's what oxidation does, is it, eats organic material, breaks it down and eats it. And
Mm.
so as long as you're not trying to do it in cold water, and I don't know, I haven't tested cold water. I just figured I better put hot water with it and did.
So
So
you use hot water with stabilized chlorine dioxide, and you just let it sit there for 30 minutes.
yep. And then rinse it and put it, wash it with LST, rinse it again, put it in the dry room, and the odor's gone. You know what I mean? And that's where, like, because that's where I found, where you were talking about like what happens if Triple D does becomes unavailable. That's my go-to now.
Yeah.
So that I don't, I can get away now. Triple D's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to ever say that you've got, but there's alternatives at least.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's another way, which is something that we needed, just to be sure. Because I mean, brutal honesty. Last time I heard from Sharon, everything is still up in the air. I
Mm.
mean, it really is. Like
Mm.
David is supposed to be kind of running things at the shop for the moment, and I don't know how that happened. And he's, yeah. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it publicly beyond that. I shouldn't have
Yeah.
said so much. So let's get to the next one here. This is cool. My son made this frame for his two gray hills. It's mounted on Velcro. So he put this together and then put Velcro across there, and the rug just stuck to the Velcro. I
That's
was like,
cool.
that's one thing I wouldn't have thought of, but it's a really good non-destructive way. And I like the frame. I mean, the frame really sets it off too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So there's, I've done some creative ways. One of my normal ways of mounting a rug for hang on the wall is to sew three or four or six or whatever little uh, pockets, and then you can put a dowel rod through those pockets and hang it up, and you don't get the damage you would like with tack strip. If you're using anything metal at all touching the rug, I mean, a piece of tack strip and putting it up there, they look great. But if oxidation, if there's moisture in the air, and it oxidizes those, you're going to get holes in your rug,
Mm.
because it's going to oxidize those little tacks. So you got to
Yeah.
be careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've really got to. I let me be careful about the way that I put this. I recently was given some rugs by a friend of mine, and I was aghast to find out that some of them actually have staples in them. And I'm going to have to go through and do the work and get those out of there, because it's just not, I'm like the only guy in the industry, but I am screaming from the hilltops, get the damn staples out of the rugs. They oxidize. I have seen rugs with holes in them, and it's such a shame. It
Yeah.
is such a shame. It hurts me. Get the damn staples out of there. I'm telling you, don't get me upset there. Okay. Uh, so here we go. Let's do a little ID. I mean, not but let's look at this: handmade or machine made. What do you say? Okay. So look here. Okay. All right. Looking down the fringe seems integral. I don't see any scalloping where they've added fringe to it, anything like that. It doesn't look, yeah. See, look right here. Those dots are not programmed by a computer.
No.
Definitely not. And those are the backs of the nodes. Okay. So now we get to look at the front of the piece. Yeah. This is a Afghani or a Paki Bukhara, isn't it, Dave?
most definitely,
Yeah,
most
that's
definitely.
definitely. I like the diamond formations. That a little different. That's kind of cool. The color's a little off. Like I would
Yeah,
have preferred a different field color, but all in all, it's just kind of a neat little piece. I like it.
yeah.
I can get to like anything.
I've actually cleaned a few of those before. So,
Oh, with the diamond, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. I watched some really super fine ones as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all junk coming out of, not at all. Now there's a lot of junk coming out of those places, but not all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've got,
the thing is that you wash those things up, and I mean, uh, like I said, I hate to say it again, LST, LST
yeah,
will make those things look like they're silk drugs. I mean,
yeah,
they just look,
shiny. And
yes,
then
they
the
just look
grooming,
absolutely incredible.
there's
You
definitely
know,
grooming issues. You can see the centerfold running
yeah,
across, the
yeah,
grooming in the lower left corner, there's atrocious. Upper left corner, sorry, is atrocious. So there's, it definitely needs some work. But this isn't from a cleaning site though. This is from, I drug this out of grandma's house. What is this thing? So
mm,
that's, I, it's good, man. If you're into rugs, there are so many Facebook groups that have, there's ones about Navajos, there's ones about identification, origin, age, maybe a little value. There's ones that are just rug washing forums and stuff like that. So search and explore. Go out there and educate yourself. You know what I mean? It is the best part of being alive is learning new things all the time. I
yeah.
just absolutely love it.
Well, whenever you see a rug like this, and you just see how pliable it becomes, I mean, those are always the Paki Bakaras. And then
Yeah,
you're sitting here and you're looking at the rug and you're wondering if it's a hand knotted rug, it's a machine made rug. Yes, you are looking for that perfect machine stitch, just like on the side of your pants, along where the side cord is. And also, you can see how the warps are part of the actual killam strip and then tied off to the knots. And you can actually see like the side cord right there. How you don't see that machine stitch,
no,
actually hand done through there. Um, but you can 100% tell, like whenever you pick up one of those Paki Bakaras, I mean, it's just like it just drapes all over. There is no
yeah,
stiffness to it, and
no,
there's a lot of them that's out there. They're pretty cool. Like I said, I watched a couple that were super super fine. I mean they were fine. I actually
right.
fell in love with them. Uh, they were just incredible, and it had just a real rich, deep blue tone and those diamonds on there,
Wow.
and I was like, man, that's a really cool rug. The guy actually, he's from Minneapolis, and he brought his rugs down here. He flew down here because he's in the flight school, and they do a lot of flight school stuff here in Wichita. So he just dropped his rugs off, and while he's in flight school, we washed the rugs, dried them all up, and then by the time he got done with the school within a couple of days, he went ahead and they're all rolled up and they were ready to go back home with him. So
Right on, man. That's cool.
yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, word of mouth is just so awesome, man. Um and then there's also I don't know. I'll have to look into whether there's still the rugcaredirectory.com. I haven't looked it up for a while, so I'll have to do that this week and
yeah,
uh see kind of what's going on with that after, I'll just call it the split. After the split, it
yeah.
went that way. So,
Well, it's
let's
amazing
see.
like how far your name can actually get out there because
Oh yeah.
I actually have quite a bit of rugs that actually come in. These people, they build a lot of aircraft here. So we have Cessna aircraft. We have there's Boeing, there's Spirit, there's Beechcraft, there's everything here, right? Learjet,
Right.
and they all have to have their rugs or the rugs. They all have to have their planes serviced. And somehow, long ago, I got myself into this little niche. I guess because I was an aviation electrician in the Navy, and I just started talking with these people, and I knew stuff about planes. Next thing I
Right.
know, I had people saying, "Hey, listen, I live in San Francisco, and I'm gonna bring my jet to Wichita. Can you come out to the tarmac and go pick my rugs up?" So while it's cleaning
Right.
service, can you wash my rugs? And it's crazy. I had someone as far away as the North Pole, and the guy said, "I'm not Santa Claus, but I seriously, I want to have my rugs washed by you." Uh,
Right.
and he actually flew down and see me as well, which that was pretty awesome.
No
Uh,
doubt.
I'll have to go back and see if I can find those old pics. But he had this Kerman rug that I mean he's like probably 90 years old, you know, and it's just terrible condition. And I washed that thing, and then his son, who's now like probably what 70, you know,
Yeah.
75. This guy wouldn't even walk on the rug. He's walking
Wow.
around the rug. And I was like, "What the? You can walk on it if you want." He said, "No, no. As kids, we were never allowed to walk on that. They
Wow.
like after World War II, and they were like, no, no, can't walk on it. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how your name, you know, gets out there into the world. I mean, I've had interior design firms in New York City, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles that have called me asking me, hey, you know, hey, can you help us out with a project? So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's amazing to think that how you can be somewhere which is like nowhere, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, all these people were like, "Hey, you know, we want you to come over and come
You
help us out."
you
And,
find out this world is a small place. It
oh,
really is.
yeah, honestly, it is it not? It really superly is.
Yeah.
You know? But I always told Paul and Nate, you know, hey, I wouldn't really be where I'm at if it wasn't for you two. I
Right.
Nate really showed me how to really hands on really wash rugs, and of course so did Paul because Paul was right there. But you know, it was one thing when I would call Paul, you know, uh, and ask him. I couldn't believe I was actually scared to call him.
Right.
But you know, it was in the early 2000s, and I mean,
Yeah.
there were no rooms like this. There was no, I don't even know, was there even YouTube in the early 2000s? I don't even know. But
Yeah, I think
maybe
that
there
was
was,
late
but there wasn't
90s.
really stuff kind of like this, you know. And man,
Right.
that dude really, really taught me all the ins and outs on how to be a pretty darn good rug cleaner. And I think when you know when you really went into is you know your clients are giving you hugs and you know they're giving you food. I even had someone last week right before Thanksgiving, and she had a super nice place, and I've done lots of work for her in the past, but uh, she has chickens on the property. She gave me 4 dozen. Actually, she gave myself then the two other guys. It gave us all three of us 4 dozen of eggs, farm fresh eggs.
Wow.
I was like, man,
That is cool. I love fresh eggs.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
My wife, she's all, like she makes me burn the chicken so that she knows it's done. And like she won't eat eggs that haven't been pasteurized and all that. And I'm like,
Yeah,
bullshit. You know what I mean? I love a good man. The yolk, that
yeah,
that beautiful golden yellow that you get from farm eggs, man. And
oh
then
yeah,
you get like that pale yellow nasty looking stuff from store-bought eggs, man. It just there's such a difference. Like I've been buying, I mean, I'm sure you do too. I've been buying, beef and like having them slaughtered and all that and buying and putting
hmm
in the freezer and stuff. Because I mean, it's a game changer, dude. Like you you don't know what hamburger's supposed to taste like if you've only bought it from the store. you
Well,
know?
I'm going to tell you right now, you know, living here in Kansas,
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the most spoiled people with food wise ever.
Yeah.
I even have
Yeah.
a client of mine that she actually, her and her family own a lot up the Flint Hills, like off of I-35. So when you're driving through that Flint Hills area, you know, they own all that land. And
Wow.
there's people that bring cattle there. And basically she says, you know, we're in the cattle business, but we're really in land management. And she's like, you know, I guess the roots from the grass go down 8 foot deep, and then the minerals in the flint rocks they're brought up to the grass, and I guess those cattle actually grow 3 pounds plus a day, which is almost unheard of. But that's where all the really good like wagyu beef and all this from all over the whole entire world. People bring their cattle there, and it's pretty awesome, man. And when you eat food like that, Wow. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not the same. It's
No,
not the same. I'm telling you.
no. And it's cheaper. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah,
Like I paid an average of $3 a pound
yeah,
for, and there was a lot of, there was a lot of hamburger in it, but there were steaks and there were soup bones and there were roasts and there were steaks, and
yeah. We even have a couple bison farms that's around here. And they
ooh,
have just bison. And I'm gonna tell you what, the meat on a bison is ridiculously good. It, it's next level. I'm not even kidding.
right. I had a guy, there was a guy who raised bison in the hometown where I lived my whole life. And I swear to God, I never went and had like he had bison burgers, you know what I mean? He had like bison out running in a pinned in area, and I never went, which I now regret. I wish I would. I've never tasted buffalo.
Oh, you never have?
Nope.
Oh, it's insane. It's
I'd like to try it.
the flavor. Last week we had made it roast, and we used a big old piece of buffalo meat. Oh my gosh, it's and this. The crazy thing is like, you know, you're like, dude, I'm not wasting 1 ounce of this. I'm
Right.
I'm not wasting an ounce. It was just like so pristine and just unbelievable. The flavor is ridiculous. I know why
That's
people
cool.
are mad. I mean, not only did it feed the whole entire tribe for like a few buffalo, and you get all
Yeah.
the fur and everything else, but I mean, are you kidding me? I mean,
Yeah.
holy smokes, that was
The
crazy.
quality. Yeah. No doubt.
Well, this
Well, let's
rug
get
looks
back.
a little tough, right?
Right. I was just thinking about that. He says, I have this flat woven rug that's a little bit stinky, but also has lots of dye bleeding and wondering if there's anything I can do to wash it. And of course, remember, this is from, a rug, a forum about what the rug is. It's not, these aren't a bunch of rug washers hanging around, So
Yeah.
let's look at this kind of up close.
So it's a sumac weave.
Does,
It's a Turkish. It's a Turkish rug with a sumac weave, but I mean, it definitely has a lot of uh, a lot of stamping that kind of looks like that's on it.
yeah.
So
And
maybe it was wet and maybe they rolled it up, possibly.
or it could have just been like urine will do this, of course, and then just regular liquid spills on a rug that has crocking dyes or something,
Yeah,
um will or even bleeding dyes will do this. But that, boy, I'll tell you, a lot of it that looks like spills, like it is very mottled. It needs a good dusting and a washing, there's no doubt about that.
yeah. Well, if I had that rug, I'd just wash it with Triple D to begin with, and
Yeah.
I'd use dye release inside the Triple D.
Hmm.
So I'd make sure I contacted that, remove all the urine. You might be surprised on what actually comes off the rug itself just by using dye release. I mean, it's kind of interesting just to see, and also you might want to use a little bit of warm water. I mean, I might actually raise my water up to about 104 degrees and actually try to help loosen a little bit of that up. Uh, so I say my water. I say maybe the solution. I just warm the solution up to about 104 degrees, and then it seems like right about there, you seem to get some pretty good like lifting of like this
Hmm.
loose dyes that's on there. And a lot of times you won't even need to strip wash this. And if you
Right.
do need to strip wash it, it probably just needs to have a light strip washing done to it.
Yeah,
So
because there's only certain areas, and they don't. But you nailed it with the dye release, because dye release chemically, what it does is it helps the loose dyes. They're attracted to each other, and they're not attracted to the fiber.
yeah,
They lose substantivity, or you lose substantivity to the yarn, and it gains attraction to it's like components, another molecule of dye. I've seen when dye release works, I've seen the rinse water going off of a rug and it looks like there's little worms in it because the dye molecules will all gang up and get rinsed right down the
Well,
drain.
it actually
It's a
looks like
beautiful
spider
thing.
webs to me, like black spider webs, because you see all the colors all conjugate together and they all swirl off like swimming like off the actual rug itself.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. I've seen
And actually,
exactly that.
I was pretty shocked the first time I kind of seen it. Maybe I just did a rug that had a lot of loose dye in it, but I called Paul and I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, I mean, is that supposed to be normal, you know? And then once I
Right.
started noticing how it kind of works, I was like, okay. But then I just kind of, I had to kind of work with it a little bit because it just depends. Also, think about this. If you're washing rugs and it's wintertime like right now,
Mhm.
and it's cold outside, and depending upon where you're at, that water temperature makes a huge difference. So if you're
Yeah.
washing this rug during the summertime, I mean, you might just be able to use just the groundwater and have incredible results. In the wintertime, you may not have as good results, and you need to heat up some of the water at times. And it's it's uh it's interesting how just that amount of heat
Yeah.
that it causes. You know, like I think was it ever 18 degrees past is it past 100? I can't remember what it was. What did they say back in carpet cleaning class? You know, every 18 degrees past 100 degrees, I guess it makes it 10,000 times more reactive, I believe.
Oh, now it's what I've always heard. It was every 10 degrees Celsius you raise from 0 Celsius, you double the effectiveness of
Okay.
your surfactant,
Yeah.
if that's what you're thinking about.
Well, it
But
does.
yeah, temperature has a huge role to play. But the problem is it's uncontrollable. You know what I mean? You can't. It's hard to put reins on
Yeah.
heat. And once you've exposed it, once you've gone there, you can't just come back. It doesn't work
Well,
that way.
that's why I always found it seemed like about the 104, 103-degree range. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
why.
mild.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
that's
know it
mild.
is mild. It's not that hot. You warm your water up there. I got one of those big long glass thermometers and actually stick it there and just making sure. Uh,
Right.
and I guess I'm old school. There's probably a better system to doing that. But if I'm working with something like that, I might mix up maybe 3 5-gallon buckets with maybe some
Yeah.
light product inside of it. But I'm just trying to make sure I get in the water just about that temperature and then putting that on there. And I mean, tell you, it's amazing the difference that the actual product, how it works using the triple D, using the dye release, and then also then laying the sheets on the actual rug itself and diapering that, rolling that up, placing your centrifuge and spinning that out. I mean, you'll stamp all that stuff right on there, and then it just comes out, and it just looks incredible, really.
Yeah. 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 I think too many people go nuclear with heat too fast. Um,
Well, I think
it-
they just use too hot a heat.
yeah,
I
exactly.
really
They
do.
start out too hot, right? Is
Yes.
you want to ratchet it up until you get the warmest, or I'm sorry, the coolest solution that will work. That's what you want to use, right? It's same thing with
You know
a
how
lot
I
of the
figured all that out?
chemistry we use.
How I figured that out was Joe Roberts. So remember he came
Hmm.
out with that
Flush booster. Yep.
yes, flush booster.
I was
So he
thinking
had,
about it just a minute ago.
so he had flush booster for bleeders, and he was telling me it was summertime, and he told me he said Brian, he said, listen, man, he says all you gotta do is put this stuff directly onto the rug, and you're good to go. And I said okay.
Yeah.
And then so I mixed it up and I put it on this rug, and it is the reds are screaming. I mean, they're screaming. They're coming out like I just stuck this thing. I mean, I couldn't believe. I called him. I was like, "Are you sure it's supposed to be this way?" And he was like, "Dude, I'm telling you, it's great. It's going to turn out really good." Well, the difference was I was in summertime when it was like 105 degrees here versus he's in the mountains and it's nice and cool and he has cold water from the mountains. And man, it was that temperature change. And he was like, "Well, you're probably going to have to cool your water down. If I use some ice or something." And I just wasn't even thinking at the time about how temperature plays such a massive role in how this works out. And then I started thinking
All
back,
of it.
like the carpet cleaning classes, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I do remember that deal, right? And then once I started kind of working with it and playing with it, and I started seeing I was getting different results during the wintertime, during the summertime, and years goes by, and you're cleaning rugs, and you're like, okay, now I'm starting to understand the system, and it
Yeah.
is a system. And yes, I have gotten stupid. I use my truck mount, and it's just blazing coming out of this thing, and I've
Right.
got super, super hot water. I can't even remember what the temperature was in that thing.
You
And
you can get up to safely about 230 to 235, and you're starting to get close to the melting point of olefin at 235. I think it's
wow.
like 242, if I remember right. Something right in there, 245, maybe even 240
Well, I
is the
used my truck
melting
mount,
point.
and I used a what a wash wand, not wash wand,
Mhm.
yeah, the power wash wand
Yeah.
attachment, and I put that inside there in a 5 gallon bucket, and I was trying to get hot water for that deal, and I just got scolding hot water. I stuck
Wow.
it on this rug, and it was the wrong recipe. Man, let me tell you something. If you've been washing rugs, you're going to probably screw up a lot. It's just, can you get yourself out of
Oh
that
yeah.
screw up? That's
And,
really
and
what it
that's
comes down to.
that's why we practice on
Yeah.
rugs from the Salvation Army and
Yes.
Goodwill and
Yes.
donated rugs. I get my customers to donate rugs to me because this is what I tell them. I'm like, look, I have two guys that need to see these lessons and I can show them to them on a rug that nobody cares about anymore. So I get donations all the time. I'm the guy who, like, your carpet installer will charge you like, 300-400 bucks to take the carpet out of your house before he installs. I
Yeah.
will come and take it out at no charge because I can reuse it being a carpet repair guy and all that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I need different shades of different ones all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then I get paid for the ones that are like urine soaked and all that because like the installers won't touch them. And I know how to do that without making me and my guys sick. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
just got to have, contamination procedures and all that. You got to know all that crap.
Yeah.
Um, but I do all kinds of stuff like that. So I've got the equipment around, and you got to know how to charge for that. I mean, because you really are. I mean, you're putting you and your guys' health and safety at risk, and
Yeah.
it's really it's something like it's not something to be um, toyed with. And not only that, you can get one of your guys could sue you later on down the road. Dusting rugs all the time without a respirator on, something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Even if it was like, well, it was your choice. There's respirators laying there, but it's like, no, you need to wear a respirator when you do this. And I'll tell you what happened to me. I'm not a guy who gets sick very often, right? I don't just like, it just doesn't happen. Once every couple of years, I'll have a day where I feel sick, and then I'm fine. But I was dusting a couple of rugs one day without just air dusting them and going to, and the next day I felt horrible. And
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, I probably, breathed in a lot of foreign substances
Oh,
that
yeah.
I really shouldn't have yesterday. And I was like, from now on, it's not just I mean, you can do it with goggles and a half face, but I'd rather you just put the full face on because we've got them. So go ahead, and they've got the acid gas organic vapor cartridge on them. So they're really hot. I mean, like there ain't nothing get through there. And so, and that's what you want when you're dusting, you know what I mean? And it's good to do it outside if you
Oh, yeah.
can. I'm really low tech now. I'm going to be developing my I don't know. I haven't really talked about it to a lot of people because it's not really something, but I have been in the process of buying the business that I work for about 7 years now. And at the end of this month, we signed the papers. and it's mine. And so I'm going to start developing some things with rugs and doing, getting some bottlenecks. I just doubled the size of my dry room like 4 or 5 months ago. And so, yeah, it was a load bearing wall. I had to have the guy who actually built the place came back. We bought the place from him, and the owner did, the current owner. And he bought the place from him. And so I got to know him really well. And I said, man, how would we bust this wall down today? He's like, it's real easy. You put up shores and you did your business. And I'm like, well, let's plan on doing that. It took like 2 years. And he called
Wow.
me and he says, I think I've got a minute. I could probably come. I was like, come on. And
Yeah.
so we knocked down a room between a bedroom sized room and another bedroom sized room and made one big dry room. And it's been phenomenal. It widened up a bottleneck. And then so now I'm going to be investing in a little better dusting strap duster. But the thing is, you got to, you get those kind of tools. Like you can use the sanitaire on almost anything, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to hurt much. Um, but you get those tools like that, and you've got to trust your guys' decision making about, do I use this on here or do I not? And it's like some guys will look at it, well, do I want to fart with this for 2 hours with a sanitary, or do I want to get it over with in 20 minutes with with a strap duster? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but you're gonna tear it apart, dude. You can't do that. It's like putting a tufted in a tumble duster. It's like good luck. I hope it works out well for you because it usually doesn't.
And I'm really kind of just um I don't know what to think about the tumble dusters because I see the advantage of it,
Yeah.
but also I mean you're kind of limited in a way. You're not putting tufted rugs in there. I guess you probably could put a machine mode rig or rug inside there, but you probably only want to put that one rug in there at a time. I mean, I don't think you'd want to put multiple rugs like I had seen.
Yeah, because man, you
Take,
knock the side cord off,
oh yeah, take side. You screw a lot of things up, right?
the
And
fringe.
so I probably could see something, but it just seems like sometimes like the air dusting and the using like a rug badger or something just seems to be sometimes just a better option.
Mhm.
And maybe like a good vacuuming, but it's just I don't know. I mean I got one of my friends and he's asking me, man, what do you think I should buy? What do you think I should do? And I was like, man, I don't know. It seems like a lot of money on a tool that you can only use on certain things. Uh, I have seen some of those. Have you seen some of those where actually like it was a strap duster, like a big old giant machine,
Oh
like that
yeah, 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 yeah.
feed that
Like
in?
you feed it in. Yeah.
That actually might be a better system, maybe than tumble duster. Sometimes I
The
don't
the
know.
problem is it doesn't account for one rug's dirtier than the other. That's my problem with the automation of it. You know what I mean? Like you feed it to a duster, it does what it does, but does it account for this is a Kaleem and this is a
Hmm.
2 inch thick endo? You know what I mean? Does it
Yeah.
differentiate? I don't know, but I think that needs to be differentiated.
Yeah.
Those two things you wouldn't dust anywhere near the same amount of time, maybe not
Oh
even the
yeah.
same way. You
Yeah.
know, and so that that automation worries me. And it's also really easy for somebody who's not paying attention or who's stuck in a rut to do damage that's going to cost them big money or
Yeah.
cost the boss big money, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm afraid of is the employee factor on getting those. I mean, a twin air duster dog groomer thing is what I use. And
Yeah.
now I've got two separate units tied together is what
Yeah.
I use right now. But when I replace them, I've already found one that's a little twin that it's the same one they had down in Baltimore. We had and it was a good little model. I mean, it did a really good job.
Yeah.
An Australian system is just that. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It's
yeah.
like the Queen Mary of everything that ever was. But um, this is a good. alternative, I think.
Well, I do. I use that dog grooming tool.
Yeah.
I have two of those, two 8 horsepower motors tied in together into basically going to my wand.
Right.
It does a phenomenal job. It does a
I put it on
phenomenal
a
job.
hand tool
Oh, really?
because it try it. Um, the hand tool for some reason makes me think I think I'm getting more out because that maybe just the length of the wand, maybe the amount, like, I have this, those at the car wash, you go and vacuum your car and it looks like a claw. That's exactly what I have for my air dusting.
Mhm.
And I really like it because you're able to like drag that a little bit, force through those fibers and everything. And I really like that because I've seen, I mean, that's that tool that Nate's got, that's like the little
Mhm.
thin lines on it,
Yep.
and he does that, and like dust flies up this way, and all of that.
Yeah.
I love that, but that's not in the cards for a long time.
Yeah, because first off, one of those 25 horsepower motors, twin turbine motors, costs like 25,000 bucks. It's high dollar, right? Then of course, then you have to have the tool, which is a certain kind of tool.
Right.
You
And
have
you
to
got
get
to have the class. You got to go,
yeah.
learn it from Phil. You can't, he's not
I
going
don't
to
even
just,
know.
yeah.
Is Phil even having classes anymore?
I believe so. I, I swear to God, I'm gonna miss it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm, I'm not gonna get to go. And I've always wanted to go to his class, and I don't
yeah.
know. I just don't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the other thing that's great about having like that dog grooming tool, the two 8 horsepower motors tied in together.
Mm.
You pull a silk rug out of the centrifuge, uh, and you give it just a little bit of air, and you break up that tension. Man, I mean, you basically just took out hours of work, and
Right.
you just got to make sure you're breaking up and you're drying that rug a little faster. Also, I found out even sometimes using something like that, if you're cleaning viscose furniture and you need to actually try it, you're getting it wet and all those things are just bonding together. Uh, and I think if I remember right, I could be wrong. It's either one or the other. So I always thought that Paul said it goes to a negative charge. You need to bring it back to a positive charge. Or
Yeah. Positive makes them. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Cationic, it makes
yes,
them go like this,
yes.
where normally there are. It's called, there's van der Waals forces, and then hydrogen bonding is what happens when this is wet and this is wet, and they're so close together that they just want to,
Yep,
like when a magazine gets wet and dries
yep.
out and try to tear the pages apart, is
Well,
exactly
I
the same
found
thing.
out using that like viscose furniture, and I just use a spray bottle and some triple D and going across and cleaning on
Yeah.
on some of this furniture. Holy smokes, man, that really does an amazing job on there. I mean, it's first off, it's at the right pH where it needs to be. Pretty much that's what rayon rug shampoo is. You can use that as well if
Yeah.
you have it. But like you put that on there, a lot of times people have dogs anyway. You can have a little bit of odor to the thing. So you're not even using that much product really. And you're going across, you're cleaning that, and then using that dog grooming brush or the tool.
There we
I use
go.
one of the old school like heads for the actual vacuum part and just try to break that tension up and just do it lightly so that way you're not really like digging into the fiber.
Right. You're not, yeah, carving
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
using something like a Mustang brush that I saw from Nate's a long time ago. I bought like 3 of these Mustang brushes. They have like brass bristles and they have also the
Oh,
knife
yeah, yeah, yeah. They've got metal
yeah,
bristles
yeah.
in the
And
with the,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you brush north, south, east, west, and you can polish it off where it looks so darn good. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else
Oh
is over here
yeah.
dying. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm literally guessing. I don't know. And everybody gets mad. And I was like, they're like, how do you do it? And I was like, wow. I mean, like your product at the end is like incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of thinking what's going on, but it really was started off, with like some of the silk rugs, because the silk rug was come out, and I was like, okay, let's just use the wand kind of going across, and let's put some airflow to it and try to break
Yeah.
this up, and then go back and kind of brush it. But you got to be careful with the wand strokes, because that way you don't, streaking back and
That's
forth.
right.
you're pulling back, and then you're going back and you're grooming. Holy smokes! I
Mhm.
mean, pretty much, I just need to do it one time, and it's done deal. I mean, and they come out and they shine like a diamond. They look absolutely incredible. They feel nice and soft. And before, they were always, you groom it down, you dry it, and maybe that was the good thing, and maybe a tumble duster possibly, because like if you take
Mhm.
like a silk rug, because you basically wicked everything at the top, right, and everything's kind of sticking together. Maybe if you put that into a tumble duster, it would
And
break
it,
up that monotony, right?
yeah,
Break that up.
yeah.
Because some of my friends who do have tumble dusters, that's what they say. They said, well, the handle on the rug feels a little stiff sometimes, maybe when you get it out. Well, I'm thinking, no, not mine.
Yeah, yeah, not
Mine's,
really, but
but
okay, if
but
you
mine
have
might be a
that,
little
you have
different.
that.
I got a
Yeah.
little bit different system, So okay, and also I'm flat drying a whole lot of rugs also.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, maybe my system's a little different than everybody else's, which is fine. Uh,
Yeah.
but like, but I think that's what they were like. Hey, we have one tumble duster where we actually it's like a polishing system. The other tumble duster is basically for just
Dusting.
basically like dusting, right?
Right.
It's like okay, I do understand that. I do, and I get it. I'm just
If you
I
yeah,
think I'm just
if you're
doing
leaving
poor man's way.
residues on the rug, yeah, then you might need to
Yeah.
do that. But if you're not, then you really don't need a polishing system. I've heard of people, and I've done it once or twice when something like this would happen, but rarely do I need to. But you can polish a rug with LST and bonnets. It's
Yeah.
just really super easy, and it does everything that you want LST to do on a wool, on a silk, so that's what I love about it. Absolutely. Let's
I
see.
remember Randy
Oh
High
gosh.
telling me one time about I remember back when I didn't have a centrifuge, and there was no such thing as the rug sucker. We use you just
Right.
to use the water claws, sucking up water. He's like,
Yeah.
man, he's like, just take a PVC pipe, roll that thing up, tie it off, lean it against the wall. That's an Armenian centrifuge right there. And
Yep.
for some people, maybe you need to go that route. And I found if
Yeah.
you ever do have to go that route, at Home Depot they make these little circular orange like it's kind of like it's kind of like for something for our plants. It allows the water to basically drip out of it, and you lay that thing down, and then you could take like a 5 gallon bucket and you drill a whole bunch of holes in it. And you ever see those guys and they're swinging the
Oh
chemical
yeah.
around? Well, you can take one of those and you actually roll your rug up and then place that inside there on top of that little piece, and then
Right.
water just literally will drain right out of it. Perfect.
Wow.
If anybody's watching and you're like, man, I don't have a centrifuge, I don't have this, I don't have that, you can use the old school Armenian centrifuge idea as
Yeah.
long as it isn't going to bleed.
Yeah.
Make sure it's not going to be on a bleeding rug, and a lot of that stuff will just drain right on out of there.
And I've heard people like, if you're afraid at all that you might have not gotten, as much as possible out of the rug, you can diaper that lower corner of
Mm,
the Armenian centrifuge, and the stuff that would ordinarily be on your fringe and all that would be in the towel. So
yeah,
I've heard of that too,
yeah,
so
that would be a good idea. That would be
no doubt. Well,
that would
Brian, I enjoy our time together so much, man. This has been
definitely
great.
definitely
Um,
fun.
yeah, and we're getting some encouraging words online, which on the YouTube channel, getting some comments and stuff, which is encouraging. That's it's nice. It's nice that people somebody had said thank you for continuing it, and uh,
Well,
that's
I'm gonna try to see if we can get a little bit more activity because I'm just gonna start posting a lot more, and
right,
and start also maybe like tagging a few people that probably should be over here,
right,
kind of like because not against anything else or any other groups or whatever, but like I remember like when we first started this deal long ago, you know, and there were just a slight few people that were inside there,
yeah,
and I got some pretty darn good info off a
yeah,
lot of those guys. I mean, honestly, Scott Kenfield. I mean, nobody hardly knows Scott Kenfield, But man,
Right.
that dude is a freaking he's a
Genius, dude.
knowledge.
I
Yeah.
never thought of putting, like putting a bungee and clamping it to a rug and having it on a blower and letting it dust
Yeah.
itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
he's genius. It just
Maybe
little.
maybe we can try to build this thing a little bit back to like some old school times and
That'd
bring
be
it up to
cool.
be something that'd be kind of cool, you know. And at the very least, you know, everything that Paul taught us is not going to waste. You know,
Not at all.
hopefully I do pretty good in my life, you know, and I'm passing it down. But I mean, like also there's
Nothing
some
like
people who
that.
are out
Yeah.
there and they might be struggling here or there because they don't know. And honestly, dude, the window at that time is gone. Paul's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a guy who just basically starting now, I mean, man, that's terrible for you
It
because
is. It's a
because
bad time right
one
now.
of the
Yeah.
best guys ever with chemistry at Ruggs and just the knowledge that he had was
Yeah.
incredible. And you know, and Phil, I'm sure Phil is like incredible like that too. It's just that Phil just
Yeah.
keeps his mouth shut a lot. He doesn't
Right.
really
Right.
speak
Right.
about it too much, you know. He'll post some
Yeah.
stuff here or there, but I mean, everybody who I ever talked to, uh, I didn't even know he was even having classes way back then. And then when I did
Right.
find out they had a class, I mean, it was like too late. And the
Yeah.
class, the class back then, back like in the early 2000s, was like $7,000
Right.
class.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he wasn't playing with the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
And it's
something? That dude,
you
that dude obviously knew he knew some pretty good stuff, and you know,
still
hats
does.
off to him
Yeah. Damn
because from
straight.
what he told me, basically a little bit of stuff I learned basically from what he said, and also then from Paul Lucas, which that's
Yeah.
like 99% of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was just man.
Prolific.
So I hope
And
I hope we get more traction.
and it's gonna be, I'm gonna figure out a format. I'm going through and the things that he said, and I've got, so I've got a lot of recordings of what Paul said for years, and I'm going through and categorizing them right now, and they're going to be useful in some way. I just haven't figured out exactly, and it's going to be like how Kimax shakes out, because if Kimax shakes out a certain way, then the videos are going to be still helpful but not as helpful.
Yeah.
And so the product, because the products need to be there to be able to, because you can't use another product like you would Sublime. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, so we'll see. But anyway, we're going to end the night and
All right.
have a good night or a good week, everybody. We will see you back here next week. Yes, I understand the the irony of the shirt that I have on. I get it. Yeah. So write all the nasty comments, but I tell you what, I respect Tom Brady more than anything after the quote. Did you see the quote that he had about Patrick Mahomes?
Oh,
It was awesome. It was something like, until you have carried a franchise on your shoulders alone, you have no right to say anything. He's busting through. He's busting through a hard time, man. And which of us haven't had that? You know what I mean? So
right.
it's like, his just happens to get played out on national TV. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Ours didn't, thank God.
Yeah.
Because it's messy and it's nasty and it stinks, and you get a bad attitude about it and whatever, you know what I mean? But he's a professional. He's got, that's the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think Tom Brady's a better broadcaster. I mean, he was a good football player. Don't get me wrong. He just always kept the Chiefs out of the playoffs, and it pissed me off so bad. Man, it just like
Dude, we couldn't even get in the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Like they
And if we got in the playoffs, if we got
it was one and done.
Yeah, it's one done. It's over. It's finished.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just done. It's just that's how it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Craziness.
I feel for guys who are Browns fans.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. And I mean, like Lions fans now. I was just up in Michigan, for Paul's funeral, and so I got to know some Michigan fans, and it's like they were looking at me and they're like, you know what we're going. Like, yeah, I know what you're going
Yeah.
through, man. I went through Marty Ball. I went through Elvis Gerback. You know what I
Oh
mean?
gosh.
Yeah. I mean, that's like you say that, and that's all you need to say. Like, okay, you've been through the worst of the worst. If you know Elvis Gerback, you've been through the
Yes.
worst of the worst.
Yes. Elvis
'Cause it
Gerback
was
was
horrible.
horrendous. Yeah, that was
And it was him and Marty too. It was the
yeah.
the tandem. And I'm glad they got rid of. I mean, everybody. I don't know. Everybody worships Schottenheimer, and I don't. I think he was horrible. But that's me. And we can talk this all night, man. We're
I
gonna end
hear.
this. We will
All right.
We'll be back here next week, Ansley. And now we're gonna take during the holidays. Christmas week and the following week, New Year's. We're going to take those off, and so we'll be here until then. So keep viewing, keep watching. We're going to keep posting and sharing, and we want to know more about what you've got going on in your shop. So come on over to the Rug Lounge. Feeling kind of nice over here, Brian. Let's have everybody tell everybody bye.
We'll see y'all later. See you next
Have a
week.
have a good one. We'll see you guys next week. All right,
All right.
let's see
Bye bye.
that and that. And